What is heaven like? I know what hell on earth is going to be for me and that is if I ever get to meet the person that I could have been. That is going to be hell on earth for me. But Jeff brings up the topic of what heaven is really like, or at least his definition. And yeah, we go there. We go pretty deep with that. But then also we drift back to real estate investing and bring up. We get to talking about a couple of his properties that are in a city, and I happen to know that municipality. And in that municipality, there are neighborhoods where you don't own the land that your house or your investment property sits on. So we talk about that and how to find that out. And if you want to chat about anything we discussed here today, or yeah, what's your definition of heaven or hell? That's not off the table. Let's talk about it. My cell phone number will be given to you at the end of this episode. This is episode number 186 of the W2 Gapless podcast.
I got a call from AT&T today saying they're upgrading.
I want that FiOS cable, man.
And I mean, I don't know. I thought the internet was fine already, but like they're coming out tomorrow to change out my modem and upgrade it to whatever it's called. I don't know.
Shit's going to start breaking.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Get your own modem, man.
Is that how it works?
Well, it's been 20 years in the IT industry and everything was fine and dandy until we showed up on scene, and then everything started breaking. So,
well, I don't have to pay for it. They're coming to
no. Yeah. It's
who's we? AT&T?
Who, me?
AT&T for me. I don't know about Jane.
No. Various IT. It didn't matter. It was various IT companies that I worked for.
Gotcha.
So what, they fuck shit up just so you'll upgrade?
No. We were basically the change agent. People. Our kind of the bulk of my IT career was spent in privately held medical practices, converting people from green dumb tube terminals to like Windows-based machines for the whole EMR, HIPAA, EHR implementation.
Mm-hmm. What was that? So, I'm sorry. Could you repeat what you just said?
Yeah. You want to go back to Game of Thrones? Electronic health records, trying to bring them back into the 21st century, right? No faxing. And yeah, we would show up. They're like, my icons aren't working. My printer worked yesterday, and then y'all show up. My printer's not working anymore. Like, fuck. Is there paper in it? Oh, there's no paper in it. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not you. Yeah. When it's blinking, when the light's blinking, says add a paper, it ain't me. But you sat here and bitch for 2 hours thinking it was me. But get back to work.
Oh,
I never said any of that. I was very nice.
That makes me feel
troubleshooting
real dumb, because I've got this old 2003 like truck that I use for real estate and just hauling random things and just speed around truck, right? And my dash panel has not been working, and I think there's an issue because sometimes the gauges don't work, but sometimes the lights just don't work, and like the radio wasn't working, like the lights weren't working on the radio.
Got a short.
Everything's working. Well, no, I'm driving down the road and finally, I just had enough. I was like, I got to figure out how to fix this. So next stop, I get on old Google, and some guy had like the same issue. And later down the thread, he's like, oh, figured out the issue. No fix, just figured it out. I'm an idiot. I had my dimmer switch turned all the way down. And I looked at it, and I looked at my radio, and I turned it up, and they came right on. I was like, God. How do you do that?
I've been there too. I've been that guilty. I used to have a Dell laptop, and for the life of me, I still don't understand. But they on the side of the laptop, they had this little toggle switch that you can turn the Wi-Fi on and off, like if you wanted to. And we're at an install. I'm surrounded. We're on a conference room table. Everybody's doing their thing. I'm like, I can't get connected to the internet. What the hell? So I called Dell support, sit on the phone for 20 minutes. The lady sits there and talking to me, and I'm like, this, and I was pissed. I was in a mood, and I was just letting her have it. And then one of my colleagues who's sitting here to my left-hand side, he just leans over and he kind of looks at my laptop and squints his eyes. And he flips the toggle switch. And he goes, I think you can connect now. I was like, yeah, I'm good. Sorry, ma'am. I'm having a bad day. I apologize. We're all good.
You never know what's going on someone's day, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We have those days, man. It's the very first day, new job. Like I was in my early 20s. This is where I was employee number 5. I'm on the help desk. They're like, we'll give you 3 weeks of training and then we're going to let you loose. Right. And then day number 1, they're like, we're really busy. You just got to get on the phone and start answering phone calls. It was like tier 1 help desk stuff. And this lady calls in, she starts cussing me out. And I'm like 22, 21, 20 years old. Yes, ma'am. I hang on. No, where are you calling from? And I kind of went down this thing and she's like, blankety blank paper, my printer's not working, blah blah blah. I hate this damn thing. This thing sucks. Y'all are horrible, blah blah blah. And I remote into her system and I said, all right, you're trying to print to, Sarah's desktop printer, whatever it was. And she goes, yeah. And I said, do me a favor. I said, on my end, it shows that it's out of paper. Can you go over there and just check, make sure that's it? And I hear her laughing in the background. She comes back over and she's like, I am so sorry. It was out of paper. I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. And so the next day there was 24 donuts delivered to our office and it was from her. And I was like, no, that's freaking
nice.
Awesome. That's what I should have done to the Dell employee. I should have sent him some donuts.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool of her.
Yeah.
I think for those that believe in heaven, like to me, heaven would be like knowing what you know now and being able to go back and like confront situations.
Oh yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
that would be freaking heaven to me. Like
that's reincarnation, Jeff.
No, I don't want to be a caterpillar. I want to go back. And, like if I want
depends on your karmic balance there, buddy.
If I want true heaven, like I want to be able to know what I know at the end and go back and handle those situations appropriately. Like who the fuck wouldn't want to do that?
Right.
So I'm pretty sure I got a job because of the question like that came up in the interview. And they asked me, goes, if you could go back and change anything in your life, what would you change? And my answer to that was, there's a lot that I would go back and change as long as I end up where I'm at today and who I'm with today.
I agree.
And they're like, I haven't heard that, whatever. All right. So Jeff, what's one thing that you're going to go back and change if you could?
Oh,
it doesn't matter how recent.
No. Don't get me wrong. Like
recording this podcast.
I know. And I'm going to talk as fast as I can. So I understand what you're asking, but my point is that we can I understand that you have to go through the pains of life to get to where you're at, and I'm happy where I'm at, and I wouldn't go back and change. I truly wouldn't go back and change anything, but I'm talking like heaven.
Maybe something you would change. Like I would like to go back to a couple of weeks ago. I'm in a hotel and this lady's walking up and she's yelling me hold with her dog and she's yelling hold the elevator.
You could be a gentleman,
and I could step off the elevator. Said, ma'am, I'm allergic to dogs. You take this one. I'll wait on the next one. I would love to go and do that. That wouldn't.
But who knows?
Now you know for next
save your life. Maybe because of that interaction, kept her from like doing something stupid. I don't know, but
well, I'll tell you, I saw her a few more times in the hotel, and she was not carrying her dog with her or letting her walk around. I don't.
Now I understand what you're saying, and trust me, like there's plenty of things that I haven't been able to, that I've done in the past that I regret, but. If that's what it took to get to where I am now, I'm fine with it. But I'm saying like heaven would be like being able to go back and to all those situations where you fucked up, because it doesn't matter, you're dead. Just going back and being able to handle them, like just that scene, not like like that's where your life changes. Like just going back and just, you know, getting some redemption on something you screwed up or didn't take action on. So that was my opinion on it.
Jamie, anything you're going to go back and change if you had the chance?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing that jumps out of my mind, and this is going to sound a little like blah, 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 but I remember I had just moved to Alabama, 2011.
Oh, Tad.
And I mean, I had not, I was
See, you're
making
supporting Alabama with those crimson and white you got going on there.
crimson and white. You mean pink and purple?
Yeah, that's
blue?
purple, dude.
All right. I'm going to the
colorblind?
eye doctor, apparently.
And so like at first, like 6 months, I hadn't met really anybody. Like I moved here not knowing a soul, right? Like took a job, making decent money for that,
Good for
that
you.
time in my life, you know, just
Yeah.
trying to make a future. And I have always, not because this is a real estate podcast, I've always liked real estate. Like I've always been interested in it. And I remember getting on the computer and looking up like ways to make extra money in real estate or something like that on Google. And in my mind, it was always like real estate agent. And in my mind, it was always real estate investors, like were uber rich and like you had to have a ton of money and everything else. And Bigger Pockets came up. I remember it like it was yesterday on Google, and I like clicked in and I started reading like one of the first articles, and I just closed it. I was like, you got to have too much money to do that. And I just like moved on to real estate agent. And if I would have just like taken 30 minutes to dig in at 26 at that point in time, you know, and fast forward, I mean, I guess it was like 6 years later, I actually started doing it, but it was 2011. Birmingham, you were buying houses that I can't buy for under like $150,000 now for 25 grand that were renting for $800 a month. Like, oh, I just can't imagine what would have been kind of different in my life, a little bit different from Jeff's. Like it could have just changed the trajectory of my investing career. And it was like, it was presented to me. I looked at it, and in my mind, I just had a mental block that you couldn't do real estate if you didn't have a ton of extra capital.
Yeah.
And I just moved on.
And now you know kind of what that cycle looks like. So now you know next time it comes around, when to just hammer down and just buy. We were talking, Cassie and I were talking about the other day. I was like, I don't think we'll ever sell anything ever again. I don't think, partnerships aside, hey, we're going to sell.
Right.
I don't think we will.
So you think you're going to hold, huh?
I mean, I say that, but our very first property, that I talk about in my book, Make an Offer. We said we would never sell that. And then we had somebody approach us, paid us twice. It was off market, paid us twice what we paid for it.
Right.
And it's kind of hard to turn down, but
yeah. Well, Jeff's leaving. I wanted to pitch to him.
He's coming back.
He is coming back. He'll be right back, but he's doing the same thing. I mean, like you talked to him, and he's starting to hold flips that he would have sold. They're starting to hold them as other types of properties.
We're trying to, but we just made the hard decision to but sell instead of hold on to one of my favorite properties. Just because we can't make enough money on it, renting it short term or long term. It sucks because I love the house, and we've spent money on it, but it's just, it's a business decision, and I'll enjoy it as long as I can. But it's a very, very. I thought it was going to be our top property after Ansley, but it's Fairhope has so many rules against short-term rentals and stuff. So we're just gonna fix it up to sell it now. So
gotcha.
I say it sucks, but in theory, if we get what we think we're gonna get for it, like we'll make a shit ton of money. So poor me. But
Well, there's something to time value and money, right? And that's
Yeah.
Oh,
something
yeah. I mean,
I've like
I'd rather
velocity of money, you know, whatever you want to call it.
It's such a special property to have a double lot with a pool in a couple of blocks of the bay that you can see from the front porch. In such a highly sought after neighborhood. It's going to be hard to get rid of, but it'll be bittersweet, I guess.
Fairhope's. There's a town over there. I don't know if it's Fairhope or Foley or Daphne or Lock. One of those cities. Like you don't actually own the land.
Fairhope.
That is Fairhope, right? Where you just lease the you lease the land from the city, or
yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. We have 2 properties over there right now, and it was just dumb luck that the properties we bought aren't under that lease standard.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And we didn't know about it till somebody told us, because like you can't even take ownership of the property until you take some kind of like class.
Really?
That you understand you don't own the freaking land underneath your house.
Yeah.
They won't sign off for the closing until you take this class. And it blew my mind. I didn't
know that.
That was just something that just
never knew that was an option until
yeah,
5 years ago. We were into that.
Like we've only bought 2 properties over there, and both of them, like, we actually own the land underneath it. But as Jamie probably already knows, like one of them had these old lot lines, and you have to literally go and get it resurveyed and plotted or platted, whatever it's called. And you have to pay the money, and the city will not give you a permit until you get it proper
redone.
I forget what it's called, but they're essentially trying to replat the whole city. But they're making new homeowners do that if they do any kind of renovation on the property. And yeah.
I tell you,
Fairhope's pretty special, though. I mean, Fairhope is it's a Hallmark movie kind of town.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. It's pretty special.
It's a different world. I mean, I like it over there. I mean, other than some of the stuff I've had to deal with. I mean, I like the restaurants. I like the bay. I like my houses. I like the land underneath my.
Yeah.
But it's just a different world over there, and you either need to get on board or get the F out.
Yeah. Yep.
Who
would love Fairhope? Jeff, you know who would love Fairhope?
Blair.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say.
Oh, she would. Oh my God, she'd be swimming in a pool of ecstasy. I got a couple houses for you.
There you go, Jamie. I mean,
hey, throw it in as part of the package. I'll come down and we could just take off. Just want to make something happen.
Yeah, I could totally see Blair enjoying Fairhope.
Yeah,
my wife would be just the kid in the corner, like
just hanging out.
She just doesn't understand that lifestyle.
Well, there's God, this is going to sound bad, what I was going to say. So let me stop for a second and think about it. But there is something to, I think, what you prioritize, right? And Trina has a good mind about it. She gets this real estate thing. She gets the financials. She gets like the whole picture. And as much as I love her, I think Blair just wants the comfort of life, and
the benefits.
That's not taking anything away from her, right? Like, she's a hard worker. She'll grind. When she puts her mind to something, she'll go all in. But it's we tend to be on a little bit different wavelengths on some things when it comes to to like money and investments and everything else. And so, and we definitely live in a neighborhood now where majority of the wives are just on a different level of, you know, they just live their comfortable lives and
they don't work
what they want to spend and don't work. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't care if Blair doesn't work, but I want her to understand what I'm trying to accomplish at the same time. You know what I mean? And so there's been some conversations and some struggles around that. And you know.
I think it's a spectrum, man. I think it's my wife on one end, and I think it's your wife on the other.
No, I can introduce you to people that are way further than Blair, but
I'm not saying either one is right.
No, 100%.
But I think it's just two different spectrums, and it's you know, I don't really have anything else to say about it.
No, neither one's wrong, right? And it's just kind of like, it just is what it is. But
it is what it is, for sure.
When you leave a review, and I hope you do, don't forget to tell us who you are and leave 5 stars. That's from Dirty Jobs Micro. Listen, guys, if you're interested in exploring any of the products or services that I use to make my real estate investing career easier, or you want to explore joining us in the W2 Capitalist community where you can hang out with guys like myself, Brody, Jamie, and Jeff on a routine basis, there's going to be a link somewhere in the description or comments or something like that, wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast. But as promised, if you have any questions whatsoever, or you feel like I can help you in anything we talk about here today on this episode or any of the previous episodes, send me a text. I was going to say, give me a call, but chances are, if you're not in my phone book, I'm not going to answer. So send me a text. Let me know what episode you're listening to and how I can potentially help you. We'll find a time to get on a call. Okay. My cell phone number is 205-249-0248.